In an age where cell phones, tablets, television, all sorts of electronic entertainment confabulation exists, where we broadcast, record, and store thousands of hours of video games every minute, there is a subculture, a movement that thrives in spite of it all. One where friends can still gather at the kitchen table, roll dice, shuffle cards, and move little wooden people across cardboard mats in a purely analog fashion, no electronics required. It's not just the banal and vanilla board game offerings of Sorry and Monopoly, where little exists in the way of strategy and the end of the game can come down to the random draw of a card or roll the dice. Board games have become much more complex and asking players to think many turns ahead in order to capture resources or land, like in Settlers of Catan or Twilight Imperium. In Regina, one cafe has embraced board game culture. They're nurturing it. They've created a space for people to play and build a community. Their name is Boards and Beans. Interestingly enough, they're also a hotspot for craft beer in the city. They move a lot of beer. I want to find out what it is about board games. What about that community makes them such a craft beer hotspot? Stephanie from Boards and Beans is here to kind of talk about board games with me and drink a little craft beer. Steph, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I'm really excited to talk to you.
I'm excited to be here.
So before we get talking about board games, let's drink some beer.
All right.
Cheers.
Cheers. Ooh, that's really good.
This one is called Cherry Dreamsicle. It's the brainchild of brewmaster Dave Holowati at Rebellion, and it features more than 500 pounds of sour prairie cherries from Over the Hill Orchards in Lumsden.
Oh, it's delicious. It's very good.
What do you think you're tasting?
Well, you can definitely taste the cherries. It's a sweeter beer. I don't know. It's I can definitely taste the cherries, but I don't know what else is in there.
You're right about the sweetness. I'm getting a lot of sweet. I know Dave, I'm cheating a little. He put a lot of lactose sugar in here to give you that kind of like sweetness and creaminess. But I can also, on the finish, get a real sense of like vanilla.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's like, boom, big vanilla.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah,
it's not
true.
A fainting, wilting vanilla. It's like
yeah.
bang.
Yeah. I like vanilla though, so it's really good.
Are you a very big beer drinker? Do you know much about beer?
I don't know a ton about beer. I'm not a big beer drinker. I do, like, typically my go-to would be the lentil.
Yeah.
So just a lighter beer, so yeah.
It has become our #1 seller.
Yeah.
Dave's notes said that this should have an intense sour cherry aroma and a sweet vanilla base. That was his email to me.
Okay. Yeah, I can definitely, like, I can taste the cherry. And yeah, now that you've mentioned it, it definitely has that vanilla taste to it, for sure.
Would you recommend it to your friends?
Absolutely. It's really good.
Deadly. I'm glad we found a beer that you could enjoy.
Yes.
So let's go to the beginning of Boards and Beans. How did you guys get started?
Well, it's owned by my mom and I, and we knew that we wanted to start a cafe, but we wanted something that was different. What would be different about us? What would draw people into us? And my husband and I had been board game collectors for a while. We hosted board game nights all the time at our house, and we had shelves and shelves of board games. So we had kind of looked into it, and everywhere except Regina had a board game cafe. So we were like, well, that's it. That's what we're going to do. And it just kind of took off from there until we opened. So
what's the concept for the uninitiated?
How it works is we have a $7 cover charge per person, or if you're only there for an hour, it's $3.50 per person. And we run tabs, so it's kind of the same as a restaurant where we come out to the table, we serve you, and we just run a tab and you pay everything at the end. And if you have any questions, want any game suggestions, or need instructions on games, we are all trained to help you with that. We have almost 400 games in the cafe, and we have played at least, I would say, 95% of them. So there's the odd one that we've played at once like 2.5 years ago, but we'll still do our best to help you or find someone who can if we can't remember. So, yeah.
So 400 games. Who's coming in? Who's playing? Is it all ages?
Everyone. We have had like small kids, like we've had babies in high chairs come in with their parents, families, teenagers, young adults. We've had older couples, like we actually had a couple in their 80s come in for their anniversary. We have had youth groups and like lots of different types of event or groups have rented our facility out, work events, so anything, honestly.
Companies and people can come and book your not the tap room, but the board game room?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. We have a charge for weekdays and weekends, and you would get the entire place to yourself. We would be there to help you, and yeah.
So what are some of your favorite games right now? What are you looking at to play?
Mine?
Yeah.
Dinosaur Island is probably my favorite because I love dinosaurs and Jurassic Park. But pretty much you're building your own Jurassic Park, and if you don't keep your security level up, people get eaten, and it's hilarious. It's so much fun.
Does it always go sideways?
Oh, always. Like my people are always being eaten because I put my money not towards my security. But it's so much fun. I love that game. And you have to be very strategic. Like you have to decide when to make the points because whoever has the most points goes last. And that's not a great thing. And yeah, it's a great game. I guess my second favorite right now is called Galaxy Trucker. It's an older one. I'd be surprised if a lot of people hadn't heard of it, but you have a whole bunch of pieces in the middle of the table, you flip a timer, and everyone is trying to build a spaceship at once. And then that's the first half of it, is building the spaceship as quickly as you can. And then the second half, you're drawing cards, and you have to survive meteors and space pirates and all this stuff, and your ship slowly falls apart, and it's hilarious.
One of my favorite board games right now is Scythe.
Oh, I haven't played that one yet, but I've heard really good things about it.
I find it's quite replayable.
Yeah.
And the thing I like about it is it's not random.
Mm-hmm.
It's very much the choices you made affected the outcome.
Yes.
And a flip of the dice, or a flip of the coin and a roll of the dice won't save you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry.
No, that's okay.
What's the worst board game you've ever played?
It's called Those Pesky Humans. Like, I hate to admit that there's a board game I don't like, but that one, just the rules aren't very clear. And when we looked it up online, we found a video that taught it to us, and we played it, and it's just like one person's the monsters and one person is the people, and you're fighting each other, and it's just so skewed in one direction, and it's not very good.
It's not well balanced.
No.
They didn't play test it enough.
I don't know what they did, but it was not. The end result was not fantastic.
So is there like a risk group, people are really hardcore. We have a risk group that comes in and plays at the tap room.
Oh, do you? We have a couple of people who come in just to play Risk. I wouldn't say that they're super hardcore into it, though. We do have a lot of people that come in to play Catan, though.
Catan?
Yeah, Catan seems to come out a lot. But recently we've gotten a couple of games that they're more adult themed, I guess, that seem to be being played a lot. Like there's the Game of Life, but it's midlife crisis and comes with crippling debt. And Operation, but it's botched Operation. And just those classic games with a slight twist to them. And they're on our adult themed shelf though, so little kids can't get them.
Well, what's botched Operation? Like, can you give me
So it's the operation board and you're still, playing operation, but there's a card that you draw and there's just an extra twist to it. So, for example, one of them is someone has to sing a love song in your ear while you're trying to operate. So someone at the table has to just sing in your ear, or another one is you have to operate on someone's stomach. So they have to lay flat on the floor and you put the board on their stomach and try to get the pieces out, and just makes it harder.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
So how long have you guys been open?
We just had actually today is our 2-year anniversary.
Well, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. We had our celebration with cake and free coffee yesterday.
So what are some of the memories your team has made over the last 2 years?
Well, we have definitely made a lot of friendships with some of our regular customers. We were actually in the wedding party of one of our regulars this summer. And we've seen a lot of first dates and stuff like that. And recently we had a couple who just got engaged in our cafe, who had their first date in the cafe when we first opened. So that was really exciting. It's so nice to see stuff like that happening. So
That's a really good feeling that you get to build that kind of
exactly.
feedback from your community.
Absolutely, yeah.
You're like matchmakers.
Yeah, there you go.
Cupid's arrows,
Exactly.
Have you guys done matchmaking nights?
We did one with the U of R Pride. They had a speed dating event, and it was so much fun. Like, they organized everything. We just got to watch the whole thing, and it was so much fun, and just seeing how it worked and everything. I would love to host another one. We just haven't had the chance to organize it yet. So, but it was so much fun.
So Boards and Beans, great place for board games, but also great place for a first date.
I would say so. I mean, think about it. You're sitting down with someone, and I don't know, I think it's a good judge, or a good way to judge their character based on the games they pick or how good of a sport they are, if they lose or win. And it's not just going to, dinner and a movie. You actually get to sit and talk, but if it's not going great, there's something to distract you.
Like, oh, this guy he's saying something really obnoxious. I'm just going to take out his pieces.
We have had some really, we've seen some pretty bad dates. And we had someone come to the till once, and she was like, I was like, oh, I hope you guys had fun. And she was like, yep, I'll be back. He will not. I was like, oh my goodness.
How come you guys sell so much craft beer? What's going on?
Well, we try to support local businesses as much as possible. We get our games from comic readers. We do all of our own baking. Everything we do is made in-house as much as possible. So originally we were just buying Pilsner and Coors, and we weren't really selling any beer. And I decided to look into it, and you guys brew locally, and I thought it would be great to bring it in, and it's just gone nuts. People love it. They love your beer. And what's better than sitting down to a game with a beer, right? So I don't know, I can't tell you why, but it just flies off our shelves. We're here every week picking up more.
That's awesome. One of the things that caught our attention, we were looking at our sales numbers, and most people kind of have a regular order, and yours kind of keeps rising.
Yeah.
We were wondering if you guys were saying to customers, hey, you should try out this lentil. You should try out that amber.
Well, they'll definitely ask us our opinion on them. Or they'll say, hey, I like Pilsner. What could you suggest? And we'll say, well, like the blast off is comparable. And usually they order 3 of them. They drink the first one and they really like it and order 3 more. So I don't know, it's just gone over really well and people really like it. So, and I found that a lot of people really like that it's made locally. I'm surprised at the number of people that didn't know that Rebellion was local.
Really?
Actually, yeah, I was really surprised. And if people ask us why we've switched, I'll say, oh, well, we wanted to go with something local. And they're like, oh, I had no idea. And then they buy a whole bunch.
You're helping us reach an audience we maybe haven't talked to yet.
That could be, yeah.
People are like, oh, what's this craft beer thing? Oh, well, it's local.
Exactly, yes.
We often try to say, though, it's not just local for the sake of local. It has to be good.
Exactly.
So when we partner with businesses like Takeaway Gourmet or, even supporting Vong next door at the donut shop, we support it because it's really good.
Yes, exactly.
It's just an extra bonus that it's local.
Yes, absolutely.
It's great that we can forge that kind of relationship with Boards and Beans, and you guys can see it happening on its own.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely.
So what's the next step for Boards and Beans?
Well, this month we didn't have a whole lot going on. October was crazy busy. We had tons of events. But next month we'll be announcing a couple of events, and we'll have our New Year's Eve murder mystery party announced right away here.
If people want to sign up for that or want to show up, where can they go?
You buy tickets at Boards and Beans, and we send you your little package with your character information, and then you just show up the day of, and yeah, it's so much fun. We've had about 4 or 5 murder mysteries now, and they've all just been great, and the feedback on them has been amazing, so they're so much fun.
I've only been part of 2 murder mysteries,
and
both times I was murdered.
Oh.
I'm wondering if they're sending me a message. They like flick the lights off and I have to fall to the ground and pretend I'm dead.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Well, Steph, I want to thank you for coming on the show today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Rebels, thank you for tuning in this week. If you want to find the latest news about Rebellion Brewing, be sure to check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and Untapped. I'm going to be posting all the links to Boards and Beans in the information on the show below. Thank you for joining the Rebellion.